into post NBA season. So this is one of my favorite questions I wanted to ask you about because we've seen in that NBA bubble, we saw a lot of great performances from a lot of guys. Heats, like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, how they was shooting the lights out. Other players like Devin Booker and the Suns playing winning basketball. So, what player from the who had a great NBA performance in the bubble do you want to see carry over into next season? Because it's one guy in my mind for sure that I want to see, but I want to know who yours first is.
I think that's a very tough question. Like you said, we saw some performances that some people might have predicted, and the majority wouldn't have predicted. One of those would probably be the way Jamal Murray scored. Like he had maybe 3, maybe 5, like 50-point games. He went crazy early on. Jimmy Butler had some crazy games. I mean, you expect Jimmy Butler being a scorer to come out and give you 30 on any given night. But to add 10 rebounds to 10 assists to that, you talking a whole different world of basketball. So when you talking about carry on to next season, I would love to see really all of them carry on because if they carry on their performance, I think you're talking a whole different season that we're looking at next year. So personally, I don't have one particular player. I would love to see Jamal Murray do his thing next year. Because Denver always been that regular season team. Like you can go back probably 10 years and they always been top 4, top 5. So I would love for him to carry that on and hopefully they pick up somebody. Hopefully, because Paul Millsap either gonna be a free agent this summer or he has a player option. I can't remember which one is it. And he's carrying I think $30 million or something like that.
I think they got to get rid of him.
So they free that up and get somebody else. I mean, I would love to see him carry on. I would love to see Jimmy Butler carry his on because I would love to see Miami challenge the Celtics, challenge the Raptors, challenge the Sixers. I love underdogs, so I would love for them to carry on. Dame is Dame. Dame has some great great games in the bubble. Dame needs to just keep it rolling because Portland is only 2 players from 2 missing pieces from being that team that we'll say, oh, they might win a championship this year because they always been that regular season team. Except for this year, they struggled. But the past 2 years before this, it was like top 2, top 3, maybe.
I was in that type of guy, like top 4.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Dame just rolling, keep rolling. Ja Morant, I hate it for him because he in Memphis. He plays so well. I love for him to keep it going. Jason Tatum played good. He, like I said, it's just a maturity thing for them. But I don't have any particular player. I just love for all of them that played good in the bubble to keep it up.
Yeah. I was smiling when you said that first name because it was the one guy I was thinking of, Jamal Murray. I think for me, he's that guy that I want to see take that next step in next season because I feel like it's no reason he shouldn't be an all-star next season. Like regular season, he was averaging like I want to say.
There is a reason. There is a reason. The West is guard heavy.
It is. But I think he's an elite guard in the West. Because when you look from when the regular season averaging from like 18-5, he went up to like 27. I think like 8 assists. His 3-point percentage went up by like almost 10. So I'm thinking like off the top of my head, Jamal Murray was that one guy I want to see because.
Okay, question: is Jamal Murray an all-star starter or an all-star reserve?
Reserve.
Okay, I'm Luke. You got Luka. You got Devin Booker.
Curry go come back.
Yeah, Curry, Clay, Chris Paul had a good year. There's a lot of guards in the West.
Yeah, and that's gonna be tough for him. But just seeing how he played in that playoffs, I think it's no it might be hard for him, like you said. It might be hard for him because the West is so guard heavy, but it shouldn't be. It's no reason he shouldn't be an All-Star reserve next season. I think for him, I think that should be his goal coming into next season. As a whole, every team, wants to be their goal is to win the championship. But I think his personal goal should be to make an All-Star team because he has that talent to do that. That's where I'm at on that one.
Looking at Denver right now, Jamal Murray averaged 18.5, 19 points a game this year for him, with Jokic at 20, Will Barton at 15, Jeremy Grant at 12, Paul Millsap at 12, and Gary Harris at 10. So yeah, if he can, like you said, take control and maybe get it up to 23 a game, then I think it's a different story. Like you said, it definitely should be a star.
I think one thing that's going to hold him back is just because how the Denver Nuggets play and they play through Joker. He don't get a lot of, because there's no reason. Like when I saw he was averaging like in that playoffs, he was getting like 40-10 games. Like he has the passing ability. He can kill you with a pick and roll, pick and pop, anything like that. So him and Joker, I think realistically, I think I can see him at maybe like 24-7, like around that area next season. That's what I kind of want to see him at.
Looking based off this year, he averaged 19 and 5, and so going from 5 to 7 assists on the stat sheet may not seem like a lot, but that's a lot. Just because you have a player like Jokic who's controlling the offense.
Right.
Jokic averaged 7 assists this year.
Yeah, right. So they plan through him. So getting off that, I probably should have asked you these next two questions right at the finals because I think it kind of ties into that. But first, do you see the Warriors coming back and being one of those top teams in the West? I'll save the next question, and we just focus on this question for
now. I would love to say yes. My biggest fear for them is I believe the West is stronger now than it was back then. When they went 73-9, they didn't have a KD. So I'm not looking at it, they didn't have KD back then. They don't have KD now. They still going to be who they were back then. Back then, they also had Harrison Barnes. They also had Barbosa. They had David Lee, who people don't see as a threat, but David Lee was controlling the center as far as making sure the offense flowed correctly. They had Andrew Butler. They had a great 8-9. So they had great 5, then you got 3 or 4 man rotation off the bench. And they definitely don't have that now. So I would love to say yes because they still have their core, which is Clay, Curry, and Draymond. And now they got Wiggins, who for Minnesota averaged 20-something points a game. And this year he averaged 20 a game. So I would love to say yes, but championship teams always come down to your bench. Who on your bench can, or who, not necessarily your bench, but what role players can step up for you. So that's what it's going to come down to. And I just don't see, what's the boy name? Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Who else on that team? It's quite
they got a lot of young pieces, like a lot of young players on that team.
And so I just don't. Matter of fact, I got it pulled up right here. They have Jordan Poole, 1 year experience. Eric Pascal, 1 year. Allen something, 1 year. Last name Anderson from Marquette, 1 year. Michael Mutter, 1 year. And then they got, besides them, they got 3 other players who's less than 5 years in the NBA. So very young team. Don't have the role player power to win a championship. So I would love to say yes. And maybe they will be that top team in the regular season. But if you ask me, Terry, will they be in discussion for a championship? I'm going to say no.
I think yes, just because when you look back to that season before KD, I think Andrew Wiggins is an improvement over Harrison Barnes for sure. I think they just need to get a good center in place. But what I want to focus on is because they got the number 2 pick, I think they're going to flip that for something good. Either it's going to be another all-star caliber type of player, maybe for like a big, or they're going to flip it for a good chunk of role players that's going to you surround
Now,
around Curry.
if you ask me that, then I would roll with you. I'm just going based off their team now.
Off the team now, right?
Even if they draft at the number 2 spot, which could be Anthony Edwards, LaMelo, or the dude from Memphis, forgot his name.
Wiseman. Not him. Wiseman too up there too.
Yeah. So I mean, if even with the number 2 pick, I don't think that they will overcome the Lakers, the Clippers. But like if they can flip that number 2 pick, trade it, add in a couple pieces with it, and get somebody. I don't know who. I don't see Giannis coming.
All right.
I honestly don't. I don't know who they can flip it for, but I'm sure that there's somebody out there that they can flip it for and turn themselves into championship contenders. Now in that situation, then yes, because Curry is still Curry, Clay is still Clay. So in that situation, maybe. But as what they are right now, no.
Gotcha. All right. So second question is, do you see are the Miami Heat the favorites to come out of the East again next season?
No way. I don't see it happening. They had a great run. I'm not saying that they trash. They can keep their team together. But when you start adding in fans, home court advantage plays a lot. When you add in experience, so this is 1 year of experience. Now next year, teams are going to go back, look at what they did wrong, what they should have did. Boston will be now 1 year older. Gordon Hayward has a player option. He denies his player option. That frees up $30 million. Don't know what Boston can do. Boston has Marcus Smart. They have number 9. He plays point guard. I forgot his name. They have
Wanamaker.
Yeah, they have pieces to trade with. Doc Rivers going to the Sixers. I'm disappointed in his coaching career because he is a good coach as far as results. But I think he will turn the Sixers into a championship contender. Not saying they will win a championship, but I think he will turn them into a championship contender. Raptors surprisingly didn't have a bad year at all without Kawhi. They play pretty good. They need a superstar though. I was disappointed in Siakam.
That was bad.
Thought he would be the player he was with Kawhi, but obviously Kawhi relieved a lot of pressure off of him, which is why he averaged 20-something last year. But I don't see Miami being the favorites to come out the East. I think it will be Boston again, honestly. I know a lot of people saying, well, what about Kyrie? What about KD? There's only been one player in the history of the NBA that came back from Achilles injuries good, and that was Dominique Wilkins. Everybody else didn't come back the same. KD can shoot, and he's 7 feet, which makes him different from everybody else because even if he becomes slow, you set screens for him and whatnot, he's still able to down shots. But they also don't have a spread offense. You got Kyrie, you got Spencer, you got KD, and then you got 2 bigs who are great rebounders, crazy athletic, but can't shoot free throws, can't expand the floor for you. I mean, when you come down to a team like Boston, who can play D on you and spread you out, I just don't see it. So the Nets will be a challenge to the Heat. The Bucks always going to be a challenge as long as they got Giannis and Chris Middleton. Boston, the Sixers, the Raptors, like that's 5 right there. Like the Heat would not be the favorites next year.
If there's one player that you can add on that Heat team to make them the favorites, who would it be?
Giannis. They get Giannis. And the only reason why I yell Giannis is because he's a reasonable player that they could get.
Right.
Obviously, you can start naming KD, Bron, blah, blah, blah. But those not realistic situations. Giannis got one more year in his contract. Boom. After in 2022, 2021, I forgot, the COVID messed everything up. But yeah, after this next season, Giannis could go to Miami if you want to. So that's a realistic situation. Embiid is a realistic situation. I think if they add Embiid, I love Bam. Bam is a great player. He's just small. Embiid brings size. And honestly, you can keep Bam at the 5, put Bede at the 4. Because Bede don't want to play in down low anyway. Sixers would be 2 times better than what they were if Embiid played like a bully, but he don't want to. So you keep Bam, put Embiid at the 4. Embiid, Giannis. Honestly, this might be a stretch, though, just because he a guard, and the Heat needs a superstar, but they also need a big. So this might be a stretch, but they get Bradley Beal, which I'm disappointed that didn't happen because they make it a package with John Wall, and the Heat didn't want John Wall, or whatever the situation may have been. I just know it didn't happen. But Bradley Beal might have been a great access to the Miami Heat.
And Brad Beal, he's one of those player names that get floated out a lot that people want to see get free from Washington. Because you put him on any team, he's going to be crazy.
Yeah, and he showed that when John Wall was out. Like he averaged 30 and didn't get All-Star or something like that.
Ridiculous.
So those might be the 3. Well, Bradley Beal is not realistic because he signed a 3-year deal already, or 5-year, whatever it was. But Giannis and Embiid, realistically, I think if they get either one of those, they'll be championship favorites out of the East.
I agree with that. Next question. What team should go after Chris Paul? I know he's one of your favorites. So where do you want to see him at?
Stay where you at. I would love Chris Paul. Like, I'm a Chris Paul fan. My 2 favorite players, Chris Paul and Melo. And probably the 2 most unwanted players in the NBA at one point. So I love Chris Paul down, but he got to stay where he at. The Knicks want him for what? They wasted his last few years of his career. I would love him to play for Lakers. I would love for him to play for Boston, play for the Bucks. He go to the Bucks, it would have been a different year for the Bucks.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But the biggest problem that I have with Chris Paul is that damn contract. That contract is awful, and because of that contract, nobody wants him.
Right.
Before this year, nobody wanted Chris Paul. Not only because of his contract, because of who he was. Everybody thought he was burning out. He's a leader on your team, but the way he leads, a lot of guys don't like it. So a lot of teams didn't want him. But he's proven that he's still Chris Paul. He might not be your 30 and 15 Chris Paul, but he's your Chris Paul that still leads your team, guide them in the right direction. And he proved that this year. And so it opened a lot of teams' eyes, but his contract, man, it's terrible. It's great for him. He knew what he was doing. He was in Houston. This didn't get any red flags that they was going to get rid of him. They signed Harden to that big-ass contract, and then they signed Chris Paul to that big contract. And then they signed Clint Capella because that was going to be their core, and they was going to build around that. So they did him dirty, got rid of him, got Russ, and now he's stuck on losing teams with I think next year it might be 38 in 1 year, 38 million.
Right, yeah.
That's a lot of money. So so to answer your question, I think he should just stay. Because if he do leave, no championship team is picking him up. He's worth too much money. His contract is too big.
I think taking the contract out of it, and these would just be my fantasy picks then for teams he can go to. I will want to see, like you said, if he would have went to the Bucks, I think that whole situation for the Bucks would have went different for this playoff series. You add him on the team because we saw Eric Bledsoe. He's just not that. He's just not that. If you put Chris Paul on that team, that's a significant upgrade along with Chris Middleton. Takes the pressure off him, takes the pressure off Giannis. I think that would have been a crazy situation. Now, these next two teams, these might be a little funny ones. But first one, I think if it was some type of way that the Clippers can get him back, I think that would be a good little place for him. Just because when I think for Kawhi and had a playoffs, I think he too much ball handling. He had too many ball handling responsibilities.
If you look at it, if you want to go back to his championships, Kawhi always had an elite point guard. He had Tony Parker and he had Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is known for having bad playoffs, but Kyle Lowry is still an elite point guard.
Exactly.
He always had an elite point guard.
I think that was just if you had Chris Paul, that they ain't choking. They not choking that series against the Nuggets. I think he probably would have got more out of Paul George too. On top of that. So that'd be my one fantasy pick, and another, and this probably won't be a championship contender, but I think just another situation, kind of like how he's in OKC right now. I think if Lonzo wasn't on the Pelicans, and if you can get him back in New Orleans too, with development with Zion and Bi, I think that'd probably be another good situation. You don't like that?
Now, just because it's in the West, the Pelicans is a great team. I love Lonzo. I love JJ Redick, Zion. Brandon Ingram was amazing this year. Drew Holiday was amazing for the past 2 or 3 years. And then the tall, light-skinned dude is helping.
Right.
I mean, they is a good young team. But even if you add Chris Paul, that doesn't turn them into a championship team. And at this point in Chris Paul's career, he's like 30. He was born in 85 or 86. So he's like 35, 30, 34, 35, around that range. Like he shouldn't be leaving, going to multiple teams unless it's for a championship. The Pelicans, that's not a championship. That's not a championship move.
I feel that. That's just one of my fantasies. I just think if you can get Chris Paul back on New Orleans, I think just as far as developing their players, you develop Brandon Ingram a little more. Zion will probably definitely be better with a Chris Paul there. All the other little young pieces too, always can learn from Chris Paul. Because I just seeing what he did for that OKC team this season, it was just he showed why he's that elite point guard. But that contract, it just messes everything up, and it sucks for him. Because he probably won't be on the contender team no time soon with that contract, unless it was some type of way they can get, like break it down or something like type of way. But it just sucks for Chris Paul.
Well, Mike D'Antoni, he messed that Houston team up. They had the championship team. They had the Warriors down
3-2.
Yeah, 3-2. They had the championship team. That next year they came back and played the Warriors again. And that time, of course, they didn't have an answer for him. So they was literally a piece or two away.
Right.
And he traded Chris Paul thinking – I knew as soon as they got Russ, that was a terrible move because everybody just think Russ is so great, which he is a great player. I don't want to take that away from him, but he's not – he wasn't the piece that they was missing. It wasn't like Chris Paul wasn't cutting it for him at the point guard position. They needed I ain't gonna say they needed another 3-and-D because Ariza was good. Bobby Moute was good that year. They was up 3-2 on the. They had Tucker on the wing. He wasn't playing big man. They had Ryan Anderson at the 4, Clint Capella at 5. I mean, they had a good squad, but in another way, they still needed a 3-and-D though. They had good wing players, so I don't want to disrespect them. But they needed another 3-and-D, and adding Russ was not the answer. And not only did they add Russ, but they took away Clint Capella, which Mike D'Antoni is known for small ball. I mean, that's what he did in Phoenix. But even in Phoenix, they still had Amari Stoudemire.
Right.
PJ Tucker is now Myers Stoudemire. So playing him at the 5, playing Covington at the 4, like that's not it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what he was thinking with that. And you saw it came to fruition when Lakers played them and they were just destroying them on the boards.
Yeah, I don't know. But getting back to the question though, like yeah, Chris Paul just need to stay. If he do go, he need to go to a championship team, but no championship team wants his contract.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
Stuck.
So, last question, then I'll let you go. Boston and the Nuggets, they were the runners-up in the conference final games. So, which out of those two do you see likely to win the championship first? I think I know your answer just because of what we've been talking about today. But still, I'm gonna go ahead and let you answer.
Boston, most definitely.
Yeah.
If you was to ask me, like right now, who's favorite to win next year out of the East, I'm going Boston as of right now.
Right.
I have not seen any offseason moves yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see Brad Stevens keeping the same team. I think he's going to either add a piece, take away a piece. I don't necessarily know what he's going to do. I wouldn't mind if he kept the same team because, like I said, I think their biggest problem was just maturity.
Right.
Because they have talent, but I would love to see him switch the team up. Maybe go get a big man, a real big man. Maybe somebody like a Clint Capella. I mean, of course, that's probably not realistic, but
somebody maybe like a Miles Turner.
Yeah, somebody that has more of a post present and can spread your floor and gets you some boards, can score for you. Somebody that's different. So yeah, Miles Turner was a good example. Sabonis has been starting to become his own player because he was in the shadows of Turner for a while. So I would love for him to add a piece, take away a piece, or do something different that will upgrade them. But if you was to ask me right now, Boston is definitely the favorite. Denver, a great team, great all-around team, always in the top in the West. But playoffs they just don't get it done. I mean, we can go all the way back to Chauncey Billups, AI, Melo days. Like the farthest they made it back then was the Western Conference Finals against Kobe.
Right.
That's the farthest they ever made it. So in the past years. So Denver they don't need to start over. They got Jamal Murray. Will Barton is a great role player. You got the Joker. So I definitely don't think they need to start over. They might just be missing another superstar power because Jokic is not your player that's going to go out there and give you 40 like a LeBron or AD or a Butler. Somebody who, if they were to make the finals, somebody who's just going to take over the game other than Jamal Murray. So I think they might just missing a star power, and that'll get them over them. But definitely Boston, definitely.
Yeah. Do you think Michael Porter Jr. can be that type of superstar player for Denver in the future?
No. I would have kicked him off the team once he said that he said something crazy. Other people
they need to something about they need to pass up or something more.
Yeah. I would have kicked him off the team right there and there. But it was crazy though, because that next game I think he showed out or something like that.
Right, yeah. Was that he dunked on somebody?
Yeah,
that might have been the game he dunked on Montrez. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was talking nonsense. But Michael Porter is not the answer.
Nah.
Let me ask you one quick question. Let me ask you, what do and I'll leave it at this. As far as the coaching rumors, Doc Rivers just went to Philly. Now you got the Houston position open. You got the position open. Do you see any system changes that will work for them? Who do you think will get hired? Like, what's your thoughts? Oh, you can even talk about your thoughts on Steve Nash getting the Brooklyn job, because that blew my mind.
Yeah.
So you could just.
I think with Steve Nash, that I did not see that coming at all. I think just because of what he has on the team, I think they're going to be a good team. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to be one of those top teams, maybe top 4 teams in the East. It all just depends on how KD comes back. So Steve Nash getting a job, we can go back and forth argue about that. Does he deserve it? But it's gonna be kind of like that Steve Kerr. He's in a good situation. He's gonna have the team probably is gonna have a good record. So a lot of people ain't really probably talk about it too much, other than the fact that did he really deserve that job? I think with the open positions for the Houston Rockets, I don't really know what coach out there that's just like automatically come to mind. I know people talk about either Jeff or Stan Van Gundy or Ty Lue. I think Ty Lue might be a good piece for the Rockets just because I just think that whole Rockets they just need a whole different offense. Like you just can't keep doing what they're doing with James Harden and let him ISO. Like you just got to.
My thing is, we as the sports world, sports fans, we don't know what kind of coach Tyronn Lue is, honestly.
That's true. That is true.
He came into Cleveland with the LeBron, and I think he was there the year before LeBron got there. I don't know timelines, but he won the championship with LeBron, and when you have a player like that, it's just more so managing egos rather than coaching. Right. Because LeBron is smart, Kyrie was a scorer. They had Kevin Love, so I don't think we know what type of system is Tyronn Lue's system or what he's going to do differently. So that's the only scary part about they keep throwing Tyronn Lue in all these coaching rumors. Anytime a coaching position opens up, his name is in there. But is it he's in there just because he won a championship? Like he had LeBron. We don't know what type of coach he is.
That's true. That's completely fair. What do you think about Jeff or Stan Van Gundy?
His ass needs to stick to commentating.
Commentator.
Stan Van Gundy, his days is over with. What did Stan do? Stan, I had it on the top of my head. Besides Orlando, what was his other group?
Pistons.
Yeah, Pistons. But Stan Van Gundy's style of play is over with. He's not. If you look at his, let me go back to his resume. Orlando. Orlando, he had Jameer Nelson, a true. He had Michael Finley at the 2, if I remember correctly. He had Turkoglu.
Yep.
Rashard Lewis.
Yep.
Ryan Anderson, Brandon Bass, all at the 4, and then he had Dwight Howard at the 5. Those are old school basketball positions. I always tell my players now. To me personally, there's only 3 positions in basketball nowadays. You got combo guard, who can play 1 and 2. You got a wing forward, who can play the wing or a big man, and he can play the 1, basically 1 through 4. And you got a center who nowadays can play 5 or 4.
Right.
So that style of play does not. When you think of Stan Van Gundy, you're not thinking that style of play. So I think his days is over with. And if you look at his Pistons team, bringing in Blake, wasn't he the mastermind behind bringing in Blake?
I think he was. Because Blake was there before the Dwayne Casey got there.
So here you go right here. This is Stan Van Gundy last year with the Pistons. He had Jameer Nelson again. I didn't even know that he was on the team.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, he had Ish Smith, Jameer Nelson, Reggie Jackson, and Kay Felder at the 1. He had the 2. He had Luke Kennard and Langston Galloway and a couple other shooting guards, and Avery Bradley. Then at small forward, he had Stanley Johnson, James Ennis, Reggie Butler, Anthony Tolliver. And then at power forward, he had Tobias and Blake Griffin. And then at center, he had Boban and Drummond. That's old school basketball. He has literally a true 1, a true 2, a true 3, a true 4, a true 5. That's not going to win in today's game. And so I don't know this for a fact. I don't think nobody will know until he's actually put in a head coaching position. But I don't think he will adjust to today's game. Like, history speaks for itself. Like, he believes in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And today's game, everybody play every position, really.
Right. So what do you think? What do you think about the Doc Rivers? Do you think is he going to get the best out of the Sixers?
I was actually reading about Doc Rivers the other day, trying to figure out myself, do I think that was going to be a good fit? And looking back at Doc Rivers, he is borderline with Stan Van Gundy as far as old school. You look at Boston, he had Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, KG, Perkins, Big Baby, Shaq. Clippers, he had Chris Paul, JJ Redick, Matt Barnes. He had Turkoglu at the beginning, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. Like, he had that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And going to Philly, he almost got a 1 through 5. He got a Ben Simmons. He got a Josh Richardson. I don't know who they got at their 3, but I think Tobias plays the 4 for him. And then they got Embiid. And they still got Horford. So Horford playing the 4, Bias probably playing the 3, and Embiid at the 5. So I don't think, like I said, I don't think old school basketball will fit in today's game. But one thing that Doc Rivers enjoyed having that will help the Sixers is shooters. He loves shooting. He had a Ray Allen. He had a Paul Pierce who could shoot for Boston. Clippers, he had JJ Redick. He had Eric Bledsoe when he was starting to come into his own player. He had Collison. He had Chris Paul. He had Matt Barnes. Jared Dudley, when Jared Dudley could shoot threes. I mean, he keeps a shooter with him, so that would help out a lot in Philly. What's the name is not too bad. Shamet, whatever his name is. He's
Landry Shamet.
Yeah, the light-skinned dude.
Yeah.
So bringing him, I don't know. He keeps a shooter with him, so I think he'll bring in a shooter. I just don't know if he will get who we know as shooters, like a JJ. JJ kind of old. He signed a 2-year deal in New Orleans. Who else is considered a shooter to us? I don't even know too many pure.
Yeah, it's not really like pure knockdown shooters that you can think of.
Because even Kyle Korver is old now.
Yeah, like they really all getting up there. Like I will say Marco Bellinelli, he's getting up there.
I will probably say he'll just have to go get a score then, not per se a shooter. Go get a score. I don't know though. Looking at his resume, he's a very disappointing coach. As far as he builds great teams, and he doesn't win with them. Right.
I think it just sucks. It sucks how that Clippers situation. I personally think they probably should have just gave him one more year to run it back, because they did just put a crazy team together in just that 1 year. Like added Kawhi.
The crazy part to me was the excuse that Kawhi Leonard used that you kind of hit on. That Kawhi Leonard said in the interview, "We just got together," or something like that. He just said, and I'm like, you didn't use that excuse when y'all was undefeated at home, or it was 10-1, or when they have a full team, or it was something crazy like that when they all was healthy, they was undefeated.
Oh yeah. It was something like they probably only lost like 2 or like only like 5 games at most when they was all together out of like 30 or some games that they did play together.
And then they want to use excuse, well, we just got together, and then LeBron and AD, this is their first year together. Rondo first year with the team. Dwight Howard, they signed a lot of 1-year deals. Danny Green. So like I I don't feed into the we just got together. Like I don't feed it. So I honestly not surprised that they let him go, Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Like you said, if they gave him one more year, and then like I said, home court advantage, the brackets will probably have lined up different. Like the Clippers might have would have made a name for themselves just because of the talent they had. But I'm not surprised they let him go.
Yeah. It was tough. I think with Doc Rivers, just on 76ers, I hope that he can get the most. I don't think he's gonna get Ben Simmons to shoot. I don't think he's gonna get Embiid to be that bully down low like you want him to be. I just think he's good at building teams, like you said, but I'm hoping the way he went out, getting out coached by Mike Malone in the playoffs, it'll give a fire in him to, be a better coach, make better adjustments and all that, carry on to the Sixers. But realistically, I just don't see what all he can do, especially with the team that the Sixers have. I think because they need some adjustments on that team.
What's the name? Have you seen the rumors that they're trying to trade Ben Simmons for LaMelo? They want to get the draft pick to get LaMelo.
I think I did see that. I think I did see that. And I've always been on the side of, I know they're great together, but realistically, I think Ben Simmons and Joel, that they should get on their own teams. Because I think if you put Ben Simmons on a situation like the Bucks, you got him coming down the floor, and you don't got Embiid just clogging up the paint, and you put shooters around him, like how the Bucks did for Giannis, I think we could see a whole different player, like MVP caliber. You don't think so?
I'm not a fan of Ben Simmons, only because he can't shoot, and it's hard to. I'm trying to think of some teams. Honestly, I really can't think of too many. It's hard to have a point guard that can't shoot on a team. Because when you look at Giannis and them, Giannis is not a shooter. Giannis is the one who's spreading the floor. He's not the one spreading the floor, but he's the one where he has the ball in his hand. He come down and he can kick it out into a shooter, or he can lane himself. Ben Simmons cannot come down the court and kick it to Giannis. Giannis is not a shooter, so it's hard to put him on a team where the other star player is not a shooter. Now I do think Ben Simmons can, I don't know, be on the team more like more like the Houston, because that's kind of like how Harden and Russ is. Like they'll penetrate and kick. We'll probably succeed in a system like that. But then again, like they're not championship ready yet. They don't have a big man. So I don't know. I do agree that they probably need to part ways, Ben Simmons and Embiid, but I feel like Doc Rivers can make it work if he go get some shooters. If he go get a shooter, he probably need to get rid of Al Horford. Al Horford is a playmaker, but if you got Ben Simmons, you don't need Al Horford. You need somebody down there that's going to bank and get some boards. I don't know. I think he can make it work with them too, but I'm leaning more towards what you're saying. They need to separate. Getting LaMelo is not the answer, though. That's LaMelo.
You don't like LaMelo?
No, heck no. I can't stand him. I think he's overhyped. They said that he grew though. They say he's about 6'7" now.
Yeah. It remains to be seen on him. I think put him in the right situation. Cause I know he's going to have more the more aggressiveness that we didn't see from Lonzo. So, and he do have the talent and ability. I just think he got to be in the right situation to flourish and develop his game. And
the right situation for him. The right situation for him will be. Now, I was going to say the Warriors, but I don't like that either. The right situation for him would be the Lakers, honestly.
Lakers.
That would be the perfect situation for him to grow as a player because he has a Rondo, he has a he has a LeBron who can teach him, and not only can they teach him, they can afford for him to jack crazy shots like he loves doing, and they will okay. He go jack them crazy shots in Philly, it's going to cost him a game or two. He cannot be that player in Philly. But in LA, he can jack a shot or two that's from the volleyball line or from damn near half court, and they'll be just fine. And he has a Rondo who can teach him how to pass, teach him how to get his open shots. I know you've seen Rondo had 18 in Game 6 or 19 that. So Rondo knows how to score. He got LeBron to teach him. That would be the perfect scenario. But
no, that's sneaky. That's a good one. I like that.
But he's definitely not Philly ready. Because if he goes to Philly, he got to be ready to hoop right away.
Yeah.
And he's very immature. That's why I don't like him. He just come down and take some crazy shots. Like, I hate it. I hate his game.
So, like I said, man, I really appreciate you being on. You made this episode special. I know we're going to have you on down the line, especially when NBA starts kicking that up again. And, you know, when we see the draft coming up, I'll probably have you on some more. So, appreciate you being on the show, man. I'm going to catch you next time. You be easy. Good luck to your team, Eastleigh High.
I appreciate you having me, man. I hope everything going good for you in Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. You be easy, man.
All right, you too, brother. Love you. Be safe out here.
Love you too, man. Be safe, bro. Appreciate it.